Good afternoon, runners, and welcome back to another video from me, that running girl. In today's video, I have just got back from a track session and we are having the third heat wave in the UK. So if I am catching my breath, that again is why, because I seem to always make my videos after I've done a really hard session, because I feel like I kind of just have the endorphins going and I feel in a really good mood and I want to make a video, but I then don't think about the fact that I'm still trying to catch my breath, so bear with me. Today's session was 0.85 mile warm-up followed by 2 sets of 1000 meter reps, 4 sets of 800 meter reps, 1 set of 400 meter rep and 0.4 mile cool down, which went really well. Every time that I'm running my track session at the moment, that's once a week usually for my classic track session, I always think about this and I always aim to make a video about it, never make a video about it. So here it is, the video that I feel no one else is talking about in the running space, and that is, do cushioned max stack height shoes cause Achilles problems? Mostly Achilles tendonitis. Now here's my journey. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was running on some cobbled streets in Italy and I fell and twisted my left ankle. I didn't think too much of it. I kind of just, rehabbed my injury and didn't really think it would be a problem. Years later, I still had all of the symptoms of Achilles tendonitis, which just didn't go away. I had 3 or 4 rounds of shockwave on it, which did go away, and again, didn't really think anything of it. But whenever I go to somewhere hot, when I was on holiday in Egypt in January this year, I definitely felt it creeping back, and I felt the pain creeping back in my Achilles. And one thing that really helps my Achilles tendonitis when it does flare up is to wear flatter shoes. And I've really noticed the difference in this. So in the week when I'm doing my easy runs, I will wear quite a cushioned shoe, either the A6 Nova Blast 5, which as you can see is a high stack max cushion trainer, or the A6 Nimbus, which again has a really high stack height at the heel and midfoot. And you can see, has a really good amount of cushioning in them. These brands will sell you the shoes primarily to tell you that all of the foam in the midsole and the heel and the high stack height is to protect you while you're running. And while it does feel really plush and comfortable and bouncy and have good energy return when you're running, it doesn't ultimately let the Achilles and the bottom of the calf muscle fully stretch out. So whenever you're running, your Achilles is always raised up quite a lot. So it never actually has the opportunity to completely stretch out and kind of extend the stride through the back, which for me personally, I feel really helps to flare up my Achilles tendonitis and make it hurt more. So whenever I'm doing a track session like I did today, I wear the Hoka Rocket. And so you can see the Hoka Rocket is relatively, in terms of 2026 shoes, is relatively near to the ground. It's relatively, you can see it kind of features more of a higher profile here. But in the heel, it's when you wear the shoe, it does feel really quite low to the ground and certainly feels more like those kind of flat minimalist barefoot racers like I used to wear back in the day in my late 20s when I got all my PBs, from 40-minute 10K to 128.5 to 317 marathon. I would wear a primarily completely flat shoe, and I would just feel like the stride pattern was really natural in that I could get a really good forefoot strike. My heel was still kind of down, but it was ultimately that perfect momentum of forefoot strike running and creating the entire sort of cycle of the stride. And I didn't have like a big sort of bulky cushioned heel and midfoot area, ultimately preventing my Achilles from hitting the ground and sort of stretching through that natural gait cycle. And I've just been thinking about this a lot lately, because every time I wear a Hoka shoe, so As you would know, I wear the Hoka Rocket X2 for my track session every week. And when I wear the Hoka CLO X1 2.0, again, even though it has this springiness and the sort of height in the midsole, they do seem a little bit more flat to the ground in the heel area. And I definitely feel a big reduction in Achilles pain when I wear certain shoes like that. So I'm thinking of doing an experiment of trying to find the old Nike Lunar Racer that I used to wear religiously. I'm going to search Vinted and eBay for it and see whether I can find it, whether I can add it into my running shoe rotation, and whether it ultimately eases my Achilles pain. Because if I wear the Asics Nova Blast or if I wear the Asics Nimbus for training, I always get Achilles pain. And you would have thought, given that my Achilles injury was, 3 or 4 years ago, and I had quite an intensive amount of shockwave on it, that it would have completely disappeared, but it really hasn't. And it's very frustrating because it's not one of those injuries like a stress fracture that completely stops you from running. And pain-wise, it's only like a 2 or a 3 out of 10, but it's still one of those kind of niggling injuries where you just don't want it running. You don't want to be in any kind of pain running. So I'm going to try an experiment. I'm going to try and find the Nike Lunar Racer, and I'm going to add it into my shoe rotation, and I am going to report back and see whether it solves my long-term Achilles tendonitis problem. So watch this space and drop me a comment below, because I'd be really interested to know. I feel like people, when they have injuries, certainly Achilles injuries, they might get encouraged, certainly by sports shops trying to push certain shoes to have like a stability shoe, when in reality a stability shoe is going to make an Achilles injury worse, because it's putting your foot in even more of an unnatural position by raising up the Achilles area. And what you really need to do is to stretch that Achilles area and make it mobile so that it's used to the load that you're putting through it. So yeah, I think about this every single week when I've got my flatter shoes on and I have zero pain in the Hoka Rockets. And I just thought I would make a video about it today, just to see if anyone else has noticed the pattern of wearing flatter shoes that have a more kind of sleek profile to the ground, and whether anyone else has experienced, getting less Achilles problems in those shoes. So drop me a comment below what you think about that, and I hope you're all running well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.